Mr. Brooks, the doctor leaned in with a grave expression, his voice steady yet filled with concern. Your blood pressure is alarmingly high, and there are troubling signs in your neurological health. You need to go to the hospital now, the cleaning lady declared, her voice steady and resolute, causing the billionaire CEO to halt his frantic shouting on the phone. Richard Brooks, a man of 53 years and the mastermind behind a $2 billion pharmaceutical empire, gazed at the 42-year-old black woman with an expression that suggested she had just uttered words from a foreign tongue. Kesha Washington stood resolutely, in her uniform, clutching her cleaning supplies, as she boldly offered him medical advice. Once upon a time, a voice gently broke the silence, seeking attention with a simple yet profound request. Excuse me? With a scoff, Richard chuckled to himself as he set his cell phone down, a smirk playing on his lips. Are you now offering me guidance on health matters? Could you remind me of your background once more? In a world where cleanliness reigns supreme, a new era of meticulous care has emerged, transforming the mundane task of cleaning into an art form. With every swipe and scrub, surfaces gleam with a brilliance that speaks of dedication and precision. The tools of this trade are not mere instruments. They are the keys to unlocking a sanctuary of purity and freshness. As the sun rises, casting its golden rays upon the freshly polished floors, one can almost hear the whispers of satisfaction echoing through the air, a testament to the power of advanced cleaning. In the opulent office, perched high on the 30th floor of the Brooks Pharmaceutical Tower, a sharp wit sliced through the atmosphere, leaving a palpable tension in its wake. Kesha watched as Richard stumbled through the video conference, his hands trembling and his thoughts swirling in a haze of confusion. She sensed the signs right away, yet the executives around her remained oblivious to them. Once upon a time, Kesha started to speak, her voice steady and determined. Sir, I'm not just ... Yet, just as the moment was unfolding, an unexpected interruption occurred. You're nothing but a cleaning lady, Richard growled, his face flushed with irritation. As the tension in the room thickened like a storm cloud ready to burst, return to your experiments and allow me to manage my business in tranquility. In the quiet of the room, a gentle reminder lingered in the air, urging for a moment of peace. And next time, it whispered, clean, in silence. Unbeknownst to Richard, Kesha Washington had dedicated 15 years of her life to the noble profession of nursing, only to see it all crumble around her due to a scandal that was nothing more than a web of lies. In a world where shadows of prejudice loomed large, she found herself facing a harsh reality. The weight of racial discrimination bore down on her, so relentless and unforgiving that it pushed her into the depths of survival. With no other options, she took on cleaning jobs, each one a testament to her resilience in the face of adversity. Yet her medical mind continued to churn, tirelessly seeking answers and solutions. For weeks she had been aware of the subtle hints that danced around her, whispering secrets only she could hear. Once upon a time, in a world filled with endless possibilities, there existed a singular entity known as This mysterious figure held the power to shape stories and weave tales that captivated the hearts and minds of all who encountered it. As the sun rose and set, they journeyed through realms of imagination, leaving behind a trail of wonder and intrigue. Each moment spent with thee was a step into a new adventure, where dreams danced and realities blurred, inviting all to join in the unfolding narrative of life. As the days passed, Richard found himself grappling with a creeping unease. His movements became less precise, and words sometimes tumbled from his lips in a tangled mess. Moments of confusion would wash over him, yet he brushed them aside, attributing it all to the relentless pressures of his work. All the symptoms pointed to a serious neurological condition that, if left untreated, could be fatal. I understand perfectly, Mr. Brooks, Kesha replied, her voice steady and unnervingly calm. I'll keep doing my job, Richard declared, his focus shifting back to the million-dollar calls that awaited him. Yet unbeknownst to him, Kesha was about to embark on a path that would surprise him beyond measure. In the shadows, she started to weave a tale of her own, capturing every detail with careful precision. In each instance, in every fleeting episode, there lay a tale of his arrogance clashing with the primal urge to survive. In the bustling world of business, Richard Brooks stood tall, convinced that he wielded absolute power over his company and the loyal souls who toiled beneath him. Unbeknownst to him, the woman who tidied his office held a secret, one that had the power to save his life, should he choose to set aside his arrogance and truly listen. In the stillness of the room, Kesha meticulously arranged her cleaning supplies, her keen gaze ever watchful, taking in every detail around her. She was acutely aware of the unfolding events surrounding Richard Brooks, and beyond with unwavering confidence, she understood precisely how to address the situation. In a world where appearances often deceive, there are those who find themselves overlooked, judged by the hue of their skin or the circumstances of their birth, yet in the quiet corners of their hearts, they hold a powerful truth. The sweetest form of retribution lies not in retaliation, but in standing firm in their convictions, shining brightly when the rest of the world falters in its understanding. Join us on a journey where an overlooked cleaning lady transforms into the unlikely hero, the sole individual with the power to save the life of the man who once held nothing but disdain for her. 3 days passed, and Richard Brooks found himself in a deeper state of despair, yet curiously, his arrogance swelled to new heights. In the midst of an executive board meeting, Kesha found herself observing he found himself tangled in a web of names, staking the identities of his own directors and as if caught in a loop. I asked the same question 3 times within a mere span of 10 minutes. As she quietly moved to tidy up the conference table, snippets of the conversation reached her ears, sending a ripple of concern through her. "Richard, are you all right? You appear a bit lost today," James Morrison, the CFO, said softly, his voice laced with sincere worry. "Are you confused?" Richard shouted, his fist crashing down onto the table with a force that echoed through the room. "All is well with me. Perhaps my thoughts are moving faster than you can follow. From a young age, I found myself navigating life with a keen sense of foresight, always anticipating what lay ahead. Once upon a time, there was a gathering of all." Kesha noticed the slight quiver in his left hand. He blinked repeatedly, as if struggling to bring his surroundings into focus. She recognized those progressive neurological symptoms all too well, having encountered them countless times during her tenure in the neurology department at Metropolitan Hospital, before her professional life had been shattered. 5 years ago, a storm began to brew in the quiet corridors of the hospital. Kesha, the dedicated head nurse on the night shift, found herself at the center of a brewing scandal when she bravely raised her voice against Dr. Mitchell Barnes's alarming habit of prescribing excessive opioids. In her meticulous records, she revealed a troubling pattern. Black patients were often prescribed lower doses of medication. In a world where the struggle for relief is often met with skepticism, a stark disparity unfolds. Those in need, despite facing the same afflictions, find themselves on different paths. The shadows of bias loom large, as some are swiftly branded as seekers of substances, while others receive the help they desperately seek. The tale of pain and prejudice intertwines, revealing a harsh reality that echoes through the corridors of healthcare. Is it possible that you are suggesting a respected doctor harbors racist beliefs? In the midst of the disciplinary meeting, Dr. Patricia Wells, the hospital director, posed a question that hung in the air, waiting for a response. What is the foundation of this scientific evidence? 15 years of experience behind her and 200 pages of detailed documentation in hand, Kesha placed her meticulous research on the table, ready to share her findings. Yet the internal investigation turned out to be nothing more than a facade. In the bustling corridors of the hospital, Dr. Barnes stood out not just for his medical expertise, but also for the warmth of his connections. Great. A personal friend of the CEO, he often shared laughter and stories over coffee, their bond deepened by mutual respect and shared visions. His generosity knew no bounds as he frequently contributed to the hospital's endeavors, ensuring that it thrived and served the community well. In a world where choices abound, one might find themselves at a crossroads, pondering the path ahead. Instead of following the well-trodden route, a flicker of curiosity ignites a desire for the unknown. The air is thick with possibility, and with each step, the journey unfolds, revealing unexpected twists and turns that beckon the adventurous spirit. What lies beyond the familiar beckons, urging the heart to embrace the unexpected and venture forth into the realm of discovery. As she meticulously examined her evidence, a new story began to unfold, one that diverged from the original tale. Kesha found herself in a whirlwind of emotions, grappling with her own struggles and inadvertently casting her personal battles with race into the realm of medical practice. In the end, the decisive moment arrived when they uncovered claims that she had supposedly breached medication protocols. These accusations, though unprovable, were potent enough to shatter her career into pieces. In the span of just 6 months, she found herself stripped of her license, her reputation shattered, and her dreams of returning to the medical field slipping away like sand through her fingers. Individuals such as yourself often believe that the universe has a debt to settle with you. Dr. Barnes had spoken on her final day, a smile gracing his lips, yet it failed to illuminate the depths of his gaze. Perhaps it's time to acknowledge that certain places simply aren't meant for you. 5 years later, as Kesha sifted through the remnants of the office belonging to the most influential figure in the pharmaceutical realm, she couldn't help but feel a sharp twist of irony. In a world where choices shaped destinies, Richard Brooks found himself at the helm of a company that crafted the very opiates that Dr. Barnes had chosen to prescribe with great care. Is your presence still felt in this moment? With a voice as sharp as a blade, Richard pulled her from the depths of her thoughts, grounding her in the here and now. As the final words of the meeting faded into silence, he found himself gazing out, lost in thought. She felt a wave of annoyance wash over her. Once upon a time, in a bustling office filled with the sounds of typing and the aroma of coffee, a desk sat in the corner, cluttered with papers, pens, and forgotten trinkets. The clock ticked steadily, and as the sun began to rise higher in the sky, a curious soul approached the desk, pondering the task ahead. With determination in their heart, they wondered just how long it would take to transform this chaotic space into a haven of organization and clarity. The answer lingered in the air, waiting to be discovered with each careful movement and apologies. Mr. Brooks, in my quest for completeness, I found myself delving deep into every detail. Meticulous. With a scoff, he let out a laugh that seemed to brush aside any seriousness in the moment. In the grand tapestry of life, you find yourself wielding a mop instead of a scalpel, navigating the corridors of everyday existence with a humble purpose. In the fast-paced world you navigate, the rush of urgency often takes precedence over the pursuit of flawlessness. Kesha nodded quietly, yet her keen eyes remained alert, capturing every detail around her. In the dim light of the room, Richard's gaze held a curious secret. His right pupil, a touch more expansive than the left, seemed to whisper tales of wonder and intrigue. There was a gentle pause before he spoke, as if his thoughts were taking a moment to catch up with his words. Once upon a time, there was a young boy whose hands seemed to dance to a different rhythm. Each movement he made was a struggle, as if the strings of his fingers were tangled in a web. The world around him was filled with challenges, and simple tasks became grand adventures, testing his resolve and spirit. In the realm of change, certain indicators emerge, whispering tales of growth and transformation. In the depths of the mind, a silent force began to stir, a pressure building within the confines of the skull. It was an unseen tide, rising and falling, whispering secrets of the body's inner workings. As the moments passed, this pressure grew, a subtle reminder of the delicate balance that exists within. Each heartbeat echoed the story of this hidden struggle, a testament to the intricate dance of life and the challenges that lay within. And another thing, Richard continued, his fingers fumbling with his tie, a hint of irritation creeping into his voice. Next time you think it's a good idea to offer me medical advice, just keep in mind that I consult some of the finest doctors in the country. I don't need the opinion of someone who cleans toilets for a living, his words, laced with casual cruelty, pierced through the air like a sharp blade. Yet, Kesha maintained a facade of neutrality. Over the years, she had mastered the art of absorbing humiliation without a flicker of reaction, a skill honed through countless encounters that sought to diminish her spirit. "I understand perfectly, sir," she replied, her voice steady as she began to gather her cleaning supplies, each item a reminder of the challenges she faced. As she stepped out of the office, Kesha felt a surge of determination wash over her, leading her to a pivotal choice. Under the soft glow of her desk lamp, in the cozy confines of her small apartment, she settled in with her laptop, fingers poised above the keys, ready to weave her thoughts into words. This is not a formal medical report. Her credentials had slipped away, leaving her without the means to pursue that path any longer. In a twist of fate, she embarked on a new path. Crafting a carefully composed anonymous letter addressed to Richard's wife, Margaret Brooks, Kesha delved deep into the history of the Brooks family, uncovering layers of their story with each piece of information she found. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Margaret who had dedicated herself to the noble profession of nursing. However, it had been a while since she had donned her scrubs and stepped into the bustling world of healthcare. In the passage of time, years unfolded like chapters in a grand tale. She possessed the knowledge to grasp the medical terminology and discern the gravity of the symptoms laid before her. Every word was selected with great care, every symptom recorded with meticulous attention to time. Every observation was supported by distinct evidence of behavior, weaving a narrative of understanding. As the clock struck 3 in the stillness of the night, she completed the letter, pouring her heart into every word. With a sense of urgency, she reread it 5 times, ensuring each sentiment was just right. Finally, she carefully placed it into an unmarked envelope, sealing her thoughts away from the world. In a moment of triumph, Richard Brooks believed he had successfully muted yet another lesser soul. Unbeknownst to him, he had stirred a force far more perilous than mere fury. Once upon a time, there was a skilled nurse dedicated to her craft and the well-being of her patients. With each day, she donned her scrubs and stepped into the bustling world of healthcare, where compassion and expertise intertwined. Her hands, steady and sure, brought comfort to those in need, and her heart, full of driven by a profound purpose, she embarked on a journey to rescue souls, even those who held animosity towards her. With a decisive motion, Kesha pressed the flap of the envelope down, and a chill of inevitability wrapped around her heart. She stood firm, determined that Richard's arrogance would not be his downfall. It wasn't due to his worthiness of existence, but rather a solemn vow she had made. To protect those in need, there are oaths that rise above the way we are treated by those whose lives we touch and transform. What that billionaire CEO failed to recognize was that each insult merely fueled the determination of a woman who had already faced the depths of loss and found within herself a resilience she never knew existed. There was a wealth of wisdom waiting to be shared, a treasure trove of insights that could illuminate the path for those willing to lend an ear. On a tranquil Tuesday, a letter found its way into Margaret Brooks' hands, brought to her by an anonymous courier who moved with quiet purpose. Once upon a time, there was a bright nursing graduate named Margaret who had just completed her studies at the esteemed Johns Hopkins University. As she delved into the pages before her, she felt a spark of recognition. The clinical precision of the language resonated deeply within her. The weight of the observations described carried a gravity that she understood all too well. As she sat there, her mind racing, she couldn't shake the feeling of something amiss. The words danced before her eyes: progressive neurological symptoms, impaired motor coordination, episodes of temporal confusion. With a soft murmur, she read it for the 3rd time, hoping to grasp the meaning that eluded her. Every word resonated with the worry she felt within herself. She had made several attempts to share her thoughts with her husband in the weeks that had passed, but each time he brushed her off with a contempt that was reserved for those he deemed beneath him. Margaret felt a stirring in her heart, whisper of something unique about Richard that set him apart from the rest. As time passed, the fiery tempers erupted with increasing regularity, each episode more unpredictable than the last. He found himself overlooking significant appointments, counting the same tales at dinner gatherings, and his once flawless handwriting now quivered as if it belonged to someone far beyond his years. Who might be the author of this piece? As she delved into the pages, her curiosity ignited. each meticulously documented medical detail drawing her deeper into the narrative. Once upon a time, there was an individual who had embarked on a journey of knowledge, dedicating themselves to the pursuit of expertise through structured learning. Without a doubt, keen observer always keeping a watchful eye on Richard. Day after day. In the bustling heights of Brooks Pharmaceutical on the 30th floor, Kesha moved with the grace and skill of a veteran nurse, bringing her carefully crafted plan to life. As she moved through the familiar spaces, a quiet determination took hold of her. With each sweep and dusting, she carefully noted the details around her, capturing the essence of her surroundings in secret. In the quiet moments, there were times when episodes would unfold, each marked by the intensity of tremors that shook the very core of existence. Patterns of mental confusion danced like shadows, weaving through the fabric of reality, leaving behind a trail of uncertainty. In a twist of fate, she found herself with an unexpected ally, Dr. Patricia Williams, a retired neurologist whose wisdom was still sought after as she worked part-time as a medical insurance consultant in the building next door. In the dim light of the parking lot, Kesha's eyes caught sight of her, moments suspended in time as their paths intertwined under the vast sky. As Patricia observed the scene unfold, she couldn't help but notice the familiar nursing techniques that Kesha employed. While assisting the elderly woman who had stumbled, it was a moment that resonated deeply with her, a testament to the compassion and skill that Kesha displayed in that critical moment. "You were a nurse," Dr. Williams noted, a hint of curiosity in his voice. It stands as a statement, clear and unwavering. For 15 years, Kesha had bared her soul, bracing herself for the familiar sting of judgment. In that moment, Patricia extended her hand, a silent invitation hanging in the air. "For 3 decades, I have walked the path of a neurologist, and even now, I can still spot true competence when it crosses my path." What began as a simple chat in the parking lot blossomed into an unexpected alliance. Once upon a time, there was a remarkable woman named Dr. Williams. At the age of 62, she had journeyed through life, overcoming her own challenges and adversities. In a world where battles against prejudice in medicine were fought daily, a moment of clarity emerged. Kesha, with her keen insight, grasped Richard's symptoms without hesitation, illuminating the path forward. In the shadowy corners of the mind, a battle rages. A formidable foe lurks, perhaps a brain tumor or the silent threat of an aneurysm. Then there's the relentless march of something more insidious, like multiple sclerosis, creeping ever closer, challenging the very essence of life itself. In the cozy corner cafe, a conversation unfolded between Dr. Williams and his companion, where a diagnosis emerged amidst the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Each of those could lead to dire consequences if not addressed in time. "Have you been keeping a detailed record of everything?" In a moment of revelation, Kesha unveiled her cherished handwritten notebook, a treasure trove where she had carefully chronicled each and every observation with great precision. With a knowing nod, Patricia expressed her professional approval. Once upon a time, there was a man who was destined for greatness. For weeks, the journey unfolded as a series of neurological tests, each one a step deeper into the unknown. In the shadows of his own hubris, a dark fate loomed, waiting patiently to claim him. In the quiet corners of their minds, a plan began to take shape, one that was beautifully uncomplicated. Gather sufficient evidence for Margaret Brooks to request a thorough neurological evaluation, yet Richard persisted in complicating matters. With his unwavering denial of any issue at hand, Dr. Harrison shared a thought with me, suggesting that perhaps I was pushing myself a bit too much. As Richard and Margaret sat across from each other at the dinner table, a casual conversation unfolded. In the midst of their meal, Richard made a remark about the dermatologist, unwittingly mixing up his title with that of his cardiologist. The slip hung in the air, a moment of unintended humor in their evening together. Yet there lingers a doubt in my heart when it comes to the young doctors. They choose to unraveling the mysteries of ailments that linger only in the shadows of imagination. As the evening light dimmed, Margaret caught her daughter's eye, a flicker of concern passing between them. Jessica had come over for dinner, but an unspoken tension lingered in the air. In the quiet moments of her final year as a medical student, Jessica found herself increasingly aware of the subtle transformations in her father. "Dad, when was the last time you had a complete checkup?" Jessica inquired gently, her voice laced with concern. "Checkups are for sick people," Richard retorted, his irritation bubbling to the surface. "I forged a pharmaceutical empire from the ground up. I believe I can sense when something is amiss within my own creation." It was during that very week that an unsettling event unfolded. As Kesha meticulously arranged the conference room, Richard entered, his expression a mix of bewilderment and curiosity. "Where is everyone?" he inquired, his gaze sweeping across the vacant room. "The meeting's been called off, Mr. Brooks. But you were the one who called it off yesterday," Kesha responded softly. Richard gazed at her, his face a canvas of confusion, as if she were a stranger, despite the fact that she had been the one to tidy his office day after day for 2 long years. "Who are you?" he inquired, his voice laced with curiosity. In a swirl of emotions, a sense of bewilderment danced with a flicker of annoyance, creating a tempest within. Once upon a time, there was a diligent member of the cleaning staff named Kesha. Once upon a time, there was a vibrant artist named Kesha, known for her electrifying energy and catchy tunes that captivated the hearts of many. He called out her name again and again, as though he were reaching into the depths of his mind, searching for a fleeting memory that had slipped away. "Once upon a time, you mentioned something intriguing about doctors." In a chilling instant, Kesha caught a glimpse in Richard's wide-open eyes of that same haunting emptiness she had encountered in the faces of neurological patients throughout her time in the hospital. As the days passed, the soul behind those eyes began to drift further away from the world around them, slowly untethering from the fabric of reality. "Mr. Brooks, are you feeling well today?" In a fleeting moment, she posed her question, momentarily lost in thought. Her position was one of great significance. In that moment, the question pierced through the haze, pulling him back to reality. "I'm fine," he growled, slipping back into the shadows of his familiar hostile demeanor. In this realm, the rules are clear. Personal inquiries are strictly forbidden. Return to your tasks at hand. Yet Kesha had witnessed more than enough. On that fateful afternoon, she picked up the phone and dialed Dr. Williams. "The clock is ticking," she whispered. Today, there was a moment when he looked at me, and for several minutes, I was a stranger in his eyes. This is more than mere arrogance. There exists a relentless decline in the workings of the mind. "We must hasten our plans," Patricia responded with determination. Once upon a time, a decision was made to reach out to Margaret.
Brooks.
Approached with purpose. In the realm of medicine, I often find myself wielding my professional concern as a shield, a reason that allows me to navigate the complexities of my duties. As the moon cast its silvery glow, Richard lay in a deep slumber, oblivious to the shadows of concern that danced in Margaret's mind. For she had observed yet another troubling sign. One day a call came through, and it was none other than Dr. Williams on the other end. Once upon a time, in a bustling clinic, Mrs. Brooks found herself in the presence of a remarkable figure. "Greetings, Mrs. Brooks," said the esteemed Dr. Patricia Williams, a skilled neurologist known for her expertise and compassion. "Once upon a time, I stumbled upon some troubling news regarding your husband's symptoms. It became clear to me that he was in need of urgent attention from a neurological expert." With trembling hands, Margaret clutched the phone tightly. In a quiet room filled with concern, the doctor listened intently as the words spilled forth. "I've been trying to convince him to seek help." The voice trembled, revealing the weight of worry that hung in the air. Yet, despite the earnest pleas, there remained a stubborn silence from the one who needed it most. Turns a deaf ear. Once upon a time, in a world filled with complexities, there came a moment of clarity. A gentle understanding blossomed, illuminating the path ahead. In the realm of neurological conditions, a poignant reality unfolds. Many patients find themselves adrift, unable to recognize the very symptoms that signal their struggles. In the realm of illness, there exists a phenomenon. known as anosognosia, a direct result of the affliction that plagues the body. For a span of 40 minutes, the dialogue unfolded, weaving thoughts and ideas between the participants. As the phone clicked to silence, a spark ignited within Margaret, and a plan began to take shape in her mind. On the following day, she was poised to embark on an adventure she had never dared to undertake in a quarter of a century of wedded life. In a moment charged with tension, she decided to face Richard, choosing a stage where the eyes of those he respected were upon them. Once upon a time, she extended a warm invitation to the board of directors, welcoming them to a gathering that felt more like a cozy family reunion. In a seemingly ordinary gathering meant to address the future leadership of the company, an unexpected twist awaited. Beneath the surface of corporate discussions lay a hidden agenda: medical intervention cleverly concealed within the guise of a routine meeting. In the quiet of the hallway next to the conference room, Kesha busied herself. With cleaning, her ears tuned into Margaret as she laid out the details for Jessica and the directors. In a quiet home filled with worry, my husband battles an unseen foe. His stubbornness to seek help casts a shadow not just over his own life, but also threatens the very future of the company we've built together. Little did they realize that, within the next 24 hours, the fate of Richard Brooke would hinge solely on the bravery of once. There was a cleaning lady who moved through the halls like a whisper, her presence often overlooked by those around her. She carried out her duties with quiet grace, yet to him, she remained unseen, a mere shadow in the backdrop of his busy life. In a world where scorn had been her constant companion, a woman stood on the brink of a decision that would not only shape her very essence, but also hold the power to rescue the man who had brought her the deepest humiliation. In the quiet corners of life, there lies a profound truth. The most powerful form of retribution does not come from chaos or ruin. Instead, it often blooms in the stillness of restraint, where the heart finds peace in letting go rather than seeking. To harm in a world where unworthiness often reigns, a remarkable act of saving unfolds. It stands as a testament to the boundless nature of humanity, shining brightly against the backdrop of the cruelty endured. This act reveals a truth: that compassion and kindness can rise above the harshest of experiences, illuminating the path forward. Yet the question lingered in the air. Could Richard's pride permit him to accept assistance from one he had long deemed beneath him? And what happened next? What unfolds when the act of saving a life leads one to face a vast system that chooses to overlook the insights of those deemed insignificant? On a tempestuous Thursday, when the winds howled and the rain lashed against the windows, the family gathered for an intervention, finding Richard in a moment of deep vulnerability. With the finesse of a seasoned healer, Margaret had woven together every detail, ensuring that all was in perfect harmony. In the grand halls of the family mansion, she extended an invitation to the 5 esteemed executives of Brooks Pharmaceutical. Gathering them for a pivotal meeting on succession strategy, Richard made his way down the stairs, his steps unsteady. As he attempted to mask, his movements were slow and deliberate, as if he were navigating through a thick fog. Each step carefully measured and controlled, revealing a struggle with coordination that painted a vivid picture of his efforts. On the left side, a subtle weakness lingered, and at times his speech would dance with a slight slur, as if the words were trying to escape his grasp. "Why must we talk about succession?" he murmured to Margaret, his fingers nervously fiddling with his tie. "I'm perfectly capable of running my own company." Margaret smiled gently, her eyes twinkling with amusement as she observed him struggling with his tie, attempting to knot it 3 times before finally succeeding. "It's just preventive," she added, her voice warm and reassuring. In the boardroom, a palpable tension filled the air as the directors gathered, their eyes drawn to the subtle yet significant transformation in Richard. James Morrison, the CFO, cast a furtive glance at Sandra Phillips, the head of operations. As Richard mistakenly referred to the marketing director as merely "that guy from the sales department," it was then that Dr. Williams, the medical consultant Margaret had brought in for the executive, spoke up, his voice steady yet laced with concern. "I've observed some troubling symptoms during our previous meetings," he noted, his words hanging heavily in the room. Why, in a world where the ground shook beneath their feet, time seemed to twist and turn in unexpected ways. Each step felt unsteady, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling, leaving them grappling with a sense of disorientation and a struggle to maintain balance. "There's nothing wrong with me," Richard's voice boomed through the room. As he slammed his fist on the table, sending his coffee cup tumbling to the floor, frustration bubbled within him, fueled by the unqualified opinions of those around him. In a moment of defiance, he attempted to rise, to prove his strength and vitality, but his legs betrayed him, crumpling beneath him. He fell back into his chair, the left side of his face twitching uncontrollably, his eyes glazing over as he fought to articulate his thoughts. I don't wear," he managed to stammer, his words slipping away like sand through his fingers. His hand trembled uncontrollably as he reached for the glass of water, a desperate attempt to steady himself. In that moment of chaos, Margaret sprang into action, dialing 911 with urgency. Yet it was Dr. Williams who stepped forward, his calm demeanor cutting through the tension. He assessed the acute neurological symptoms, suspecting a stroke or perhaps a secondary seizure. "We need immediate transport to the hospital," he instructed, his voice steady. As they awaited the ambulance, an unexpected twist unfolded. Margaret's phone rang, revealing a name she hadn't anticipated. "Mrs. Brooks, this is Kesha from your husband's office cleaning crew. I'm calling because I need ... In the dim light of the room, Kesha's voice trembled with a mix of frustration and resolve as she spoke. "You need to understand, I've meticulously recorded every symptom he's shown over these past weeks." Margaret's grip on the phone tightened, her heart racing. "But you're a nurse," she stammered, disbelief etched across her face. "I was," Kesha replied, bitterness lacing her words. "Until I was pushed into a corner, forced to clean offices, while others look right through me." Yet beneath that bitterness lay a fierce determination, a sharp clarity of mind. "Your husband exhibits classic signs of a brain tumor or aneurysm," she continued, her tone shifting to one of unwavering authority. "The symptoms are progressive. The cognitive decline evident, the unilateral tremors unmistakable. It's all laid out in my report." "What report?" Margaret asked, confusion clouding her thoughts. "The one I." 3 days ago, a message had been dispatched to all the directors of the company. It was the same message they had chosen to overlook, dismissing it as the ramblings of a mere cleaning lady. Margaret felt her heart race, the color draining from her face. "You sent it to the directors." A comprehensive 47 pages filled with meticulous medical observations, each time stamped and analyzed for symptoms. There was even a dire prognosis of deterioration if left untreated. James Morrison had brushed it off as mere employee paranoia, while Sandra Phillips had gone so far as to suggest Margaret be terminated for her so-called inappropriate behavior. The weight of this revelation struck Margaret like a blow to the gut, as Richard was being loaded ... As she was ushered into the ambulance, a wave of irony washed over her. The very woman her husband had held in disdain was the sole individual who had fought to preserve his life. Upon arrival at the hospital, Dr. Chin's diagnosis echoed Kesha's warnings, revealing a slow-bleeding brain aneurysm that had been wreaking havoc on his neurological functions. Had it not been for the timely intervention that day, a complete rupture would have been imminent within mere days, sealing his fate. When Richard finally opened his eyes after the emergency surgery, the first words that escaped his lips were a whisper of a horse echoed in the air, a gentle reminder of the world outside. Margaret clutched his hand, its warmth a stark contrast to the chill of the sedatives still coursing through him. "Kesha, she's in the hallway, dear," she murmured, her voice soft yet firm. "She's been waiting for 6 hours." The weight of his actions pressed heavily on Richard's heart. "She tried to warn me," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "She tried several times and I treated her like trash." With his eyes closed, tears slipped down his pale cheeks, a silent testament to his regret. "I need to talk to her." When Kesha finally entered the room, Richard found it difficult to meet her gaze. The woman he had publicly humiliated stood before him, still clad in her cleaning uniform, a symbol of the dignity he had stripped away. Clad in uniform, he bore an air of dignity that rendered his former arrogance a mere shadow of its former self. "You saved my life," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've been trying to save it for weeks. Instead, you made the choice to bring me down." In the depths of understanding, a quiet certainty emerged within me. In that moment, his voice faltered, a crack weaving through the words he tried to speak. "In the depths of my heart, I understand that I have fallen short, and yet your words resonate with a truth I cannot deny." In that moment, the answer was clear. "You simply do not." Kesha settled into a chair, maintaining a respectful distance, yet the weight of her words lingered in the air. "I didn't save your life for you." In a moment of resolve, I held on to it, bound by a solemn promise to safeguard the lives of others. In a few solemn promises. The gratitude we receive from those we rescue often pales in comparison to the magnitude of our efforts. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the ground, Richard felt a chill run down his spine. The weight of impending embarrassment loomed over him like a dark cloud, signaling that this was only the start of a journey filled with trials he never anticipated. As the sun rose and set in the days that followed, whispers began to weave through the air, and the tale emerged in its entirety. Once upon a time, there was a billionaire CEO, a man of immense power and influence. He was so consumed by his own success that he overlooked the wisdom of those around him. One fateful day, a humble nurse cleaner, with keen insight, recognized the troubling symptoms that had been plaguing him for weeks. Yet the CEO, blinded by arrogance, dismissed her concerns. Little did he know, this decision would lead him to the brink of death, forcing him to confront the consequences of his pride. In a world where secrets lingered in the shadows, Sandra Phillips and James Morrison found themselves entangled in a web of deception, desperately attempting to conceal a scandal that threatened to unravel their lives. Yet unbeknownst to them, Margaret had been vigilant, safeguarding every piece of correspondence that revealed their dismissive attitude towards Kesha's genuine medical worries. The truth, like a silent storm, was poised to break free. In a twist of fate, recordings emerged from the shadows, capturing the moment when whispers of her dismissal for inappropriate behavior began to circulate. These revelations quickly spread like wildfire across social media, captivating the attention of many. In a world where stories unfold, this case emerged as a powerful emblem, capturing the attention of the nation and shining a light on the shadows of discrimination lurking within the corporate realm. In a twist of fate, a black cleaner found herself at the center of a remarkable story when she saved the very CEO who had once looked down on her. This unexpected act of heroism captured the headlines for weeks, leaving everyone in awe of the unfolding drama. In a moment of urgency, the members of the Brooks Pharmaceutical Board of Directors gathered for an emergency meeting. In a swift turn of events, the company saw a staggering decline of $300 million in market value within just 3 days. Amidst this turmoil, Richard found himself stepping down temporarily from his role as CEO, embarking on a journey of medical recovery and deep reflection on the very essence of human resources. In a world governed by rules and regulations, the intricate web of policies weaves through the lives of its inhabitants, shaping their destinies and guiding their choices. Each policy stands as a sentinel, guarding the principles that uphold the community, while also challenging the very fabric of individual freedom. As the sun rises and sets, the stories of those affected by these policies unfold, revealing the struggles, triumphs, and transformations that define their existence. Yet the most profound moment of shame arrived when Richard discovered that Kesha had turned down every opportunity for severance pay and paid interviews. "I have no use for anyone's blood money," she declared to the gathered reporters. This must stand as a shining example. In a world where the worth of a person is often measured by their achievements or appearance, a profound truth emerges. True competence and dignity arise from within, transcending the confines of diplomas and the hues of skin. It is a reminder that the essence of a person is defined not by external markers, but by their character and actions. As Richard embarked on his journey of recovery from surgery, navigating the challenges of weeks filled with physical therapy to reclaim his motor coordination, Kesha slipped back into the rhythm of her cleaning job. her presence a quiet backdrop to his struggle. Once upon a time, within the bustling halls of Brooks Pharmaceutical, every employee found themselves part of a grand tale. He finally recognized her worth, honoring her with the respect she had long been worthy of. Once, there was a man who dedicated his days to looking down on those he deemed lesser. Little did he know, fate had a lesson in store for him, one that would unfold in the most humbling manner. In a twist of irony, he discovered that his very existence hinged on the very souls he had always overlooked, those he had dismissed as invisible. As the cameras rolled, the entire world bore witness to a profound lesson in humility, unfolding live on the national news. Yet the question lingered in the air: had Richard genuinely grasped the lesson that life had so fervently tried to teach him? What destiny awaited a woman who rose above the weight of all the biases cast upon her? In the quiet corners of life, there lies a truth often overlooked. The most profound form of retribution is not always what one might expect, bringing about someone's downfall. They find themselves in a world where the very essence of their being is tied to those they once deemed lesser, a truth that weighs heavily on their hearts. Half a year had passed when Kesha Washington stood before a captivated audience, her heart racing with anticipation. The moment had arrived for her to receive the National Heroine Award from none other than the Surgeon General of the United States. As the ceremony unfolded, the eyes of the nation were upon her. The event broadcast live, capturing the significance of this honor in a way that would resonate far and wide. Once a target of mockery, the cleaning uniform now hung proudly in the National Museum of African American History. Beneath it, a plaque declared, "The uniform of a woman who proved that competence has no color," transforming the narrative of the garment forever. From his vantage point in the front row, Richard Brooks sat in a wheelchair, a reminder of the lingering effects of his recent surgery that he still faced from time to time. His hands quivered ever so slightly, not from the grip of illness, but from the surge of feelings that washed over him as he witnessed the woman he had once belittled finally receiving the recognition she had always deserved. As Kesha stood before the eager crowd, she grasped the microphone tightly, her voice resonating through the bustling auditorium, capturing the attention of everyone present. "For a decade and a half, I dedicated my life to nursing, and for 5 of those years I felt as though I had vanished into thin air, unnoticed and unacknowledged. But today, a realization washed over me like a gentle tide. I have always been, and will always be, a guardian of life, irrespective of the acknowledgement I receive." Meanwhile, Brooks Pharmaceutical found itself at a crossroads, compelled to navigate through turbulent waters and enact sweeping transformations in the wake of the scandal. Once upon a time, in a bustling corporate world, 2 individuals named Sandra Phillips and James Morrison found themselves facing the consequences of their actions. Their discriminatory conduct led to their dismissal, a turning point that sparked a transformation within the company. In the wake of their departure, the organization embarked on a journey to foster inclusivity, ultimately crafting a diversity program that would shine as a beacon of hope and inspiration across the nation. In a twist of fate, the company's stock soared back to life, rejuvenated by its genuine dedication to fostering inclusion. Once upon a time, there was a remarkable figure known as Dr. Patricia Williams, who had embarked on a journey filled with knowledge and discovery. The medical director of the newly established Kesha Washington Institute for Preventive Medicine beamed from the audience, a warm smile lighting up their face. "A remarkable turn of events, an institute emerged, its foundation built upon a generous $10 million gift from the mysterious benefactor, Richard Brooks. This institution opened its doors wide, welcoming individuals from underserved communities to embark on a journey of free medical training, igniting hope and opportunity where it was needed most." As Kesha recounted the moment, she recalled how that man had the audacity to tell her to stay in her place. Little did he know, her place had always been one of heroism, a sanctuary where lives were saved. He was trapped in a world of his own making, unable to look beyond the walls of his biases. Richard, in the quiet moments of his recovery, had made several attempts to connect with her, yet Kesha maintained her space. honoring the unspoken boundaries that lingered in the air, was not from a place of anger, but rather from a deep understanding that certain lessons in life are meant to be experienced in solitude, for it is only then that they can be truly grasped. Richard stood at the center of a storm, the weight of public humiliation crashing down upon him like a relentless tide. Yet in the depths of despair, he discovered a spark of transformation, a flicker of hope that would guide him toward a new dawn. In a twist of fate, he found himself alone, stripped of friendships and the sway he once held over others. It was a moment of reckoning, a time to face the shadows of his past, where years of casual arrogance loomed large. Yet, amidst his journey, he discovered a treasure he had never possessed before, a true sense of humility and a newfound respect for those he had once deemed lesser. Once upon a time, in a land where shadows whispered secrets, a heart burned with the desire for retribution. The air was thick with tension as the protagonists plotted their next move, driven by a fierce longing for justice. Each step taken was a step closer to the reckoning that awaited, a tale woven with threads of betrayal and the promise of payback. The journey ahead was fraught with challenges, but the fire of vengeance fueled their resolve, guiding them through the darkness toward an inevitable confrontation. Kesha wrapped up her speech with a powerful message, emphasizing that it isn't about seeking revenge for the wrongs done to us. True revenge unfolds in the journey of becoming so magnificent that the shadows of their smallness fade into oblivion, unable to touch us any longer. For a full 8 minutes, the applause echoed through the air, a testament to the performance that had just unfolded. As the moment unfolded, Richard rose to his feet, his hands clapping fervently, while tears cascaded down his cheeks, a testament to the depth of his emotions. As he wandered down the hallway, an opportunity arose for him to exchange a few words with Kesha. Was a fool, he admitted with a straightforwardness that cut through the air. She nodded in agreement, her response immediate and unwavering. Even those who may seem foolish have the capacity to grow, provided they possess the humility to embrace learning. In a moment of despair, when hope seemed lost, a hero emerged. They reached out, offering a lifeline, despite my own doubts about my worthiness. Their kindness shone brightly, illuminating the darkness that surrounded me. It wasn't because you had earned it, Kesha, that I chose to save you, she responded, carefully shifting the metal resting against her chest. In a moment of clarity, I chose to save you, for there are forces in this world that transcend the treatment we endure. It is in our shared humanity that we find the strength to rise above the harshness inflicted by others, proving that love and compassion can triumph over the darkest of prejudices. Richard nodded, a quiet understanding settling within him as he realized that his journey ahead would be one of seeking to prove himself worthy of the forgiveness that had already been granted to him. Once upon a time, Kesha embarked on a remarkable journey, taking the helm of 3 community hospitals. With a heart full of passion, she dedicated herself to training doctors in the art of advanced clinical observation, shaping the future of healthcare in her community. Richard embarked on a new journey, leaving the world of business behind to fully dedicate himself to in a world where compassion meets purpose. There exists a noble pursuit dedicated to uplifting those often overlooked. This journey unfolds through the creation of opportunities, particularly in the realm of medical education, where the dreams of minorities are nurtured and empowered. Each step taken in this endeavor is a testament to the belief that everyone deserves a chance to heal and be healed, weaving a tapestry of hope and change for generations to come. On that fateful day, 2 lives found a second chance. One was rescued from the clutches of a brain aneurysm, while the other emerged from the shadows of terminal ignorance. In the quiet corners of our hearts, we often ponder the best way to respond to those who fail to see our worth. Yet, the most profound act of defiance lies not in seeking their downfall, but in rising above their judgments with grace and strength. They would find themselves on a journey, one that would stretch across the years, as they sought to unravel the mystery of their own past blindness. In a world where validation often reigns supreme, Kesha emerged as a beacon of strength. She demonstrated that true competence and dignity are not contingent upon the opinions of others. Instead, they flourish from a steadfast dedication to embracing our authentic selves, shining brightly in the face of adversity.